Welcome to the Body Wise podcast. I'm Beth Manning and I'm a psychic healer. I'm also an expert at reading the body and healing with energetics. So in this podcast, we go beyond the physical to explore how to work with your emotions, your beliefs, your energy, and to really enhance your spiritual connection so that you can feel safe in your body, align with your highest version of yourself, and really step into a more fulfilling, purpose-driven life. So welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Life has been a little crazy lately, so I hope to get back to a more regular schedule of recording. But I wanted to share with you today some steps that I've been taking to really monitor, protect, however we want to call it, of really being aware of what's happening energetically and helping to come back to my place of peace right now. So little things that you can do, I'm going to share 3 of them that you can do to shift back to this place of peace. Because I feel like everyone that I'm talking to right now is in at least a mild state of panic. And it's like there's so much happening that feels so beyond our control right now. And it's like the rug keeps getting pulled out from underneath us. So I want to help you come back to yourself with some very simple practices. So if you are ready to take this work deeper, I have a few connection calls that are available. And these are a chance for us to hop on a call, like absolutely no pressure, to just chat about where you're at, where you're hoping to be, and to see if I can help you with that. So if that sounds like something that is calling to you, I'll post the link for that below. I do a lot of one-on-one support work through my healing immersions where, you know, if you've tried all the things, if it feels like you've listened to all the podcasts, you've read all the self-help books, you've done therapy, and the same things are still lingering, you're still not sleeping through the night without waking up in a stress 3 a.m. panic, and you're noticing that the same emotions are coming up and the same relationship problems are coming up. So you likely haven't gone deep enough. And I talk about that a lot in the podcast. So if you're new here, please take a look, listen to the past episodes. I really talk about this value of going deeper and how often we think we're going deep enough that we're getting to the root cause, but we're really just kind of sedating the problem, just kind of helping it to feel better in the short term, but it's not really going deep enough to have a long-term transformational healing effect. So if you're interested in learning more about that, please reach out to me or schedule that connection call. I would just love to chat with you and just hear more about what's happening right now and how I can help with that. Because I really feel, this, I was talking to somebody yesterday who's a fellow healer, massage therapist, does a lot of energy work. And she was saying, I just feel so lost right now, like just so bogged down, and all of her clients were feeling so bogged down, and she was taking that energy on. And it was like, what is happening in the world? What does this all mean? And this was somebody who could read energy and kind of understand. And I just, what's been so on my heart lately is that, like, this is our chance to really step in and share our positive energy and share the healing that, that we're able to help people with. It's like, if I can help somebody else's light to shine, then they can help somebody else's and somebody else's. And that's what it really feels like right now. It feels like a one person at a time thing instead of, and this is me personally. So if you feel like going out into the world and making a huge impact in a different way, by all means, follow your heart. But what feels so true to me right now is to help somebody to heal, to help somebody to break patterns that are keeping them from stepping up and sharing what they want to share, from being who they want to be, from having that big impact. And that's how I feel like I can make a difference right now. And I see it in my clients. I see it every day, these little shifts that add up to big shifts. And then suddenly their husband is changing, their children are changing. They said something to a friend that sparked something. And it's like, can we start igniting these little flames, these little sparks that have a big impact in the world? That's what feels so important right now. And I think one of the things that keeps us from doing that is sometimes we get so bowled over by the energy that some days you can just feel paralyzed. And I know I've definitely had a few of those days this year, even this week, where it's like, okay, time to recenter, time to tap back into why I'm here, to what the big role is, time to not see the world as this big boulder that's trying to knock me down, but to say, okay, I have my own power. I have my own, my own authenticity, my own like wisdom that wants to be shared right now, and I challenge you all to really think about that. Like, how can you start to share what's in your heart even more right now? Even if it feels like somebody might judge you, or somebody might knock you down, or, whatever the worst fear is, I invite you to look at that, look at what the beliefs are around that, and then do it anyway. Just do it anyway. It's so worth it, and so what we need right now. So how can you prioritize your peace when it feels like the world is anything but peaceful? So let's talk about some of the energetic work that I've been doing, I've been teaching clients how to do. And the first piece of it is to really be aware. And this is the piece that sometimes is a little hard to swallow. So I'm just going to start with this one. I promise they're a little bit easier, the 2 and 3. But it can be a little bit difficult to see that things are actually happening for us and not to us. Okay, so the victim inside of ourselves loves to say, like, oh, it's happening to me. Like, poor me, here we go again. Like, this isn't going to end well. Like, I can predict X, Y, and Z, because we love to prove ourselves right, even if it means that we keep ourselves small in order to do it. So what if the world wasn't happening to you right now, but what if everything that was happening in your life, we're talking about relationships and, things that are coming up with you. What if this was all happening for you? What if this was all happening to push you out of your comfort zone, to encourage your growth, to get you to finally speak what's in your heart, to get you to finally quit your boring 9-to-5 and become a healer, become an energy worker, become a whatever you're dreaming of, right? So that's the first part, is to not ignore the things that knock you off your feet right now, and to do a little inquiry of, I like to just say, all right, if this was happening for my growth, what would I need to know? What would I take out of this? What would I see as the bigger truth in all of this right now? And sometimes, a lot of times, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable work because we don't want to necessarily think of ourselves as powerful. We don't want to think of ourselves as like, oh, I'm just sitting in my comfort zone. But so if things were happening, right, even if things are, what are they triggering inside of you? Is there a feeling of like, I'm not safe, I'm not supported? Like, these are things that go back often to our early childhood wounds to help us to see that maybe that was true then, but now we're adults. We have reserves that we didn't have back then. We have the ability to process emotions that were too heavy for our little childhood bodies to hold. So we managed to create ways that we felt safer, we felt supported, that were maybe unhealthy in terms of, repeating them in the present today. Okay, so that's the first piece that I invite you to look at. And one of the ways that I've been looking at this is I've been getting up and I've been journaling every morning for the most part, or when it comes up, and just kind of looking at what's been coming up in my day, what's been coming up in my relationships, what's been causing me to not want to post on social or not want to record a podcast or not want to show up, and starting to look at that stuff as, okay, this isn't meant to stop me. This is actually meant to spark a whole new layer of growth, a whole new layer of power inside of me. And I'll also tell you that if there's pain happening in your body, that's often kind of guarding that spot that is asking for some light, for some understanding, for some love, for often that's the part of us that is saying like, hey, you have something really important to share and you're not sharing it. Or there's something really important that we want you to step into right now. You're playing really small. And pain is often our body's way of saying that to us. So that first step is awareness, okay? And I don't want you to get super hung up on that. Just start having a little more awareness in your day, okay? So the second thing is that I want to just teach you a really quick way of when you are around some energy that starts to just bowl you over, that it's like, oh, I don't want to be around this energy, but you probably don't have a choice right now, right? We can't choose everybody that we're around. So when you are around somebody or something, like maybe even you have to be in a waiting room and the news is on, or, something where you can just feel there is negative energy coming toward you, I want you to picture that energy is traveling towards you, but it's not stopping in your body. It's not getting stuck there. You're just pulling it through. Okay, so it might be coming in the front of me, but it's traveling right out the back of me. And I want you to practice that because remember, energy is always flowing. It's always flowing. The problem is when it stops flowing and it stays in our body. That's when there's a problem. That's when we start to manifest some physical symptoms, some emotional symptoms, some heaviness, some, lack of sleep, racing mind, all of those things. So if you're around somebody, practice that. Practice being just really grounded and centered in your body, right? Even if they're causing you this emotional reaction, see if you can bring yourself back down in your body. And this is where we go back to number one. What are they triggering in you? What are they triggering? That is so important. This is such a big piece of your healing, is to understand what is the learning in this for me? Because if there wasn't learning in it, you wouldn't be triggered. It would just feel okay. Neutral. Okay, so paying attention to triggers, and when energy comes along that you don't want, you're going to pull it through you and out the other side. Boom, it's gone. It's not going to stay. Okay? And the second part of that is really making sure that you have some kind of a practice of balancing your energy, balancing your chakras, and grounding into the earth. Okay? So it could even look like standing and just feeling some energy coming through you head to toe and setting that intention that this is cleaning me out. This is getting rid of any heavy energy that's not mine, anything that I don't want to hold on to. and you're picturing it just being sucked down into the earth. Okay. You can even picture like sweeping around you like a little vacuum that is taking all that negativity, all that heaviness, and pushing it into the earth. And I love to do this after I've been in crowded spaces, after I've been around negative people, just at the end of the day, just because the energy that we are surrounded by right now, the universal energy, has been a little prickly. It's been a little prickly. So I don't want to be taking on too much of this stuff. I want to be creating my own little, ecosystem of energy that I control what's in it. Okay. And if anybody tells you that you can't control what's in your ecosystem of energy, then I don't think they understand energy. Okay. So you always have control of yourself, no matter who you're around. All right. Remember that. Remember that. You are the more powerful energy. Okay. So the final thing that we're going to do after we are understanding the triggers, we're practicing not only pulling that energy out, just letting it flow, but also intentionally resetting our energy. It's a little energetic hygiene daily. I like to do it at least a few times a day. You can't do it too much. If you feel off, just do that exercise of cleansing and balancing your energy right into the earth. Okay? So the last thing that is so important is returning to yourself. All right? So oftentimes we live so externally. It's like from the moment we wake up, our phone is asking us to pay attention to something. Our kids, our spouse, did you hear this? Did you, what, it's like our whole focus can become outside of ourselves. So then we go to make a decision or, try to tap into our body. And it's like, we start to make decisions kind of stress-based or based on who we've been around and, what their priorities are or what's, their opinions kind of taking over us. So it's so important throughout the day. One of the things that people say is like, well, I can't hear my body. I can't hear my intuition. Yeah, it's because everything else is so loud, It's like being in a city and trying to hear a whisper somewhere. It's impossible. It's impossible. So I want you to have just a few minutes of your day that you can be quiet, that you can put your hands on your heart space, and you can just breathe there and just notice, just feel what's happening. Okay? Because our stress is mostly in our mind. It's mostly our mind repeating beliefs and worries and anticipating the future and then anticipating your response to the future. And then this just loops and loops and loops. Okay. But what's happening below your head is a lot of really important wisdom and messages and, your soul, your intuition. There's so much happening in your body. And this is where we want to spend more time. So even if it feels like a ping pong between the head and the heart, that's okay. That's okay. Just witness that. What pulls you out? What brings you back? But make some time to be in here. Because I promise you that the answers to your life, the answers to the most pressing questions that you have right now, they're not going to be answered outside of you, because nobody knows you better than you do, even if the world has convinced you otherwise. Okay? Even if you've been conditioned to think otherwise. I promise you that so much important stuff comes to the surface when we go back to ourselves, when we tap back into this heart space, when we stop believing everything that our mind says to us all day long, because it's just recycled garbage for the most For the most part, it's things that we've picked up that aren't even true. Okay, so this is what healing is. This is what coming back to yourself is all about. It's about coming back to you and seeing that you have everything inside of yourself to heal, to grow, to step into your power, to do that really scary next step. It's just about getting rid of some of the things that are in the way of doing that. And we're all in that process of healing right now. That is very much the energy of 2025. So if you would like help with this, I am here for you. This is my purpose. I would love to help you with this. So please reach out, schedule a connection call, or just reach out to me with any questions that you have. I will post the links to all of that below. I thank you so much for joining me today. I would love for you to share this with a friend. And if you would also be so kind as to leave a starred rating or a review on the platform that you're listening, I would be overjoyed by that, because I want to get this podcast and this video in as many ears and eyes as is possible. So thank you so much for joining me today on the Body Wise podcast. Take care, be healthy, and I'll see you next time.